although it's still basketball, it's still a little difference as far as the women's game and the men's game, the athleticism, of course, and the fundamentals, of course. What has been the biggest difference as far as, coaching both genders of basketball?
Just the constantly trying to build confidence and swagger, right? And then, so all guys think they're going to be the next LeBron James. This is how we do it, right? Yep. How we were brought up in the game. We were taught to always feel that way, no matter what you're doing. Never say die, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or whatever. I was talking to some of our boys about the other day. They were like, when I was trying to say that, MJ shouldn't have laughed at Gary Payton the way he did. And they were like, Craig, if somebody said that they could shut you down, they could guard you would have did the same thing. I was like, yeah, you're kind of right. Yep. How you were taught how to be competitive in that way, whereas women are not taught to have that kind of confidence and bravado about themselves, right? Mm-hmm. And so you have to constantly build that in them and let them know you're just as good, if not better. Go out there and expect to be better than people. Go out there and expect to be great. You know what I mean? And we're going to work for it, and it's going to be a process, and you're not going to make every shot through it, but keep expecting to make every shot, right? And because you put in the work and trusting in that. And so that's been, one of the things that, that I've been trying to make sure that I do, is constantly building confidence, but build it, honestly, right? And not just, building somebody up for the sake of doing it, but building them up knowing that they earned it and that they should sustain, that kind of effort in earning it, and they should expect to be good, right? Because they put the work in, because it all pays off in the end.
Yeah, real work equals real results.
Yeah, always. It might not happen when you want it to, but it's going to happen. You just got to kind of be patient, trust, and have faith.
Right.
That was Craig Carter of the University of Wisconsin. We spoke about his transition into the coaching ranks from the business world, the importance of the mid-range jump shot, the difference in coaching men and women basketball players, growing up and playing in New York City, and he also touches upon his next step in his coaching career. I'm Mark Williams. This is the Assistants Podcast, and this is Craig Carter.
Good afternoon, Coach Carter. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Everything's good.
I know right now we're in a difficult time right now in the world. How you guys and you and your family doing right now?
Everybody's good. Most of my family is still in New York while I'm out here in Wisconsin. My daughter and grandson out in New Rochelle, and my family in Brooklyn, and all scattered out through the city. So I'm hopeful that they're keeping safe and staying indoors for the most part and trying to stay virus free.
Just so that I'm clear, you said God. You said granddaughter?
Grandson, yeah.
Grandson?
Yeah, I got a grandson. He's 8. So, yeah.
God, we're old.
I love it to death, but every time I hear it out loud, it catches me. But,
wow. Wow. Yeah. Well, I want to congratulate you. I think you're coming up on your 19th or 20th year as an assistant coach. Is that correct?
Yeah. It's been a minute between, junior college, high school, and now here at University of Wisconsin coaching women. It's been over 21 years now, yeah.
Now, in that 21 years, have you seen the game change a little? Because you're a former player. Has the game changed immensely or just a little bit?
I think here and there's some things that change, obviously, to more focus on, shooting the ball from deeper, getting away from having true conventional posts, all the time. But I still think at the end of the day, true conventional posts, you know what I'm saying, and the ability to control the paint and force double teams help you be better. But, there's basketball is played all kinds of different ways, and it's just a matter of, honing your skill and your identity on your team and then getting good at it.
Mm-hmm. You're definitely old school when you said the post, because that's a thing of the past now. It looks like a thing of the past right now. We're New Yorkers, so we dump it in the pat and figure it out from there, right?
Hey, I tell people all the time, man, like as much as, and everybody, I refer them back to watching The Last Dance, and everybody wants to talk, MJ was great and we watched it, but most of the shots that he made were mid-range jumpers that anybody say is a bad shot. And Kawhi Leonard won an NBA championship with Toronto Raptors making mid-range jump shots.
Mm-hmm.
And KD went to the Warriors and played from the elbow in and made mid-range jump shots. And he sprinkled some threes in from there too. But KD became the Finals MVP, 2 years in a row?
Yep.
Shooting mid-range jump shots mostly. And so at the end of the day, we can keep sitting here saying and telling kids it's not a great shot. But we can see consistently most people, when you can shoot off the bounce and shoot off the dribble, it makes you really tough to guard.
Agreed. And LeBron, of course, also. He's not a three-point shooter.
Yeah. You're not. But the funny thing is, go check this. My brother will be very happy that I've mentioned this on this call. LeBron James is as good, if not a better three-point shooter percentage-wise than Kevin Durant. And watch when people go check it out, they're going to be like, wow. And they would never think that. But that dude can play inside and out. He can shoot mid-range jump shots off the dribble now at a higher rate. And he even improved his three-point shooting as he became older and a better player. So, again, it helps you being able to score at all three levels and be a complete player and then hope and have your defense only hope you miss. But I will put money on pull-up jump shots if you're willing to work on it more than any other shot because it's the toughest thing to guard.
It is. And the people that rely a lot on analytics, God bless them. God bless them.
Yeah. We don't get into that. We'll call Charles Barkley and he'll talk to people about that. But,
Yeah, that's his job.
That's his job, yeah, for sure. But, yeah, analytics has a place. I'm not saying it doesn't have a place. But you also, at the end of the day, you got to have, in anything, any profession, but in basketball, because that's my chosen profession, you got to have feel and you got to know certain things. I can't play it, on a piece of paper. I got to get on the floor and I can figure out what's going on in that part. So, again, everybody has their way of doing things. No one way is the only right way. But, for me, that's how I grew up in the game. That's what I know works, and it worked for me since I started playing, some 38, 39 years ago.
Right, which is a good segue because you played at the Rutgers University back when they were still in the A10. They were still in the A10 back then, right?
Yeah, we were in the A10, man. Yeah, it's been a lot of years ago. They, the good thing about that is, and I used it, watching it with our young women on the Big Ten network. Penn State is in the Big Ten now as well. They actually played. We played a championship game from 1989, my sophomore year, when we beat Penn State in the Atlantic 10 championship. And so being able to watch that and laugh at myself and still get a little nervous, even though I know the outcome, watching it was kind of fun. But using, how, and it's funny, it's 31 years ago, but I remember what I was thinking at certain parts of the game and my emotions like it was yesterday. And being able to use that, right, to help these young women grow in the game. And there was one point in the game where I was mad I wasn't getting the ball, and I told myself the very next time I touch it, I'm shooting. I don't care where I'm at. These dudes freezing me out. And I shot it, and I got the air ball. And by the grace of God, my center rebounded the air ball and put it back in. And right then, Mark, I said, yo, you know what, Craig, chill out, man. We're going to lose this game because you're getting caught up in your feelings as opposed to trying to win the game.
Right.
And by the grace of God, we wound up winning the game, I think, by 4. I think it was 73-69. And, from then on, I always told myself, as much as you have something to contribute, you can never be bigger than the team or the game. You got to catch yourself, your focus, and get over yourself, because getting caught in yourself can cost you the game, and then you can never get it back. You know what I mean? And I don't know how I would feel right now if I shot that air ball and my center, Anthony Duckett, didn't rebound it and put it in, and we happen to lose that game. Like, I would never have left myself, you know what I'm saying, And so, luckily I had to learn that lesson right then, but it's something that, I try to, look to help, kids that I coach now.
Now, speaking of which, how did you transition from after you graduated from Rutgers in 91, 92,
Right.
correct? So,
92, yeah, 92.
How did you transition from that into 20 years of coaching? I know that you mixed in some high school time and some WNBA stuff. How did you transition from being a player to now being a coach?
Well, initially, to be honest, I never thought I would ever be a basketball coach. I got into corporate America right out of college, and I was a financial analyst for Chase Manhattan Bank for about 4 years. And then I went on in 96 and moved to Connecticut and worked for GE out there until 1998, 99 for 3 years. And then after that, I was in a management training program and wound up getting let go. I actually saw a guy die in front of me at work and have a heart attack. And I decided if I was going to do something that's going to jeopardize my health, it better be something I have a great deal of love for. And while I was out there, I had taken a part-time job as a junior college coach, as well at Norwalk Community College out of Norwalk, Connecticut. And then when I moved back to Brooklyn and became a school teacher, I was an assistant coach at Abraham Lincoln with Tiny for 2 years. And then from there, I got my first college job in 2001 at Elizabeth City State, which is a historically black college in the CIAA. And from there, I've been all over the place now, and now I'm in Wisconsin for the last 4.
Wow. That's crazy. Excuse me, that's crazy. Norwalk, Connecticut, huh? What year you were there? I remember a kid there.
I was there 98. I worked there from like 98, and I got sick, and then I wound up having to leave that job like in January of 99. And then I moved back to New York that spring and summer. And then that fall, I was teaching elementary school at PS 329 in Coney Island, and then working as an assistant coach with Tiny with Abraham Lincoln High School.
Yeah. You had to get up out of Brooklyn at that time.
Yeah.
It was a different era back then. So you, like you said, you traveled all over, but you were doing boys and men's basketball. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I didn't transition to the women's game until 2016 when I took the job here at University of Wisconsin.
Now, what made that a reality for you?
Well, one of the stops I had on the men's side was at University of North Carolina at Greensboro, and the person I worked for there was Fran McCaffrey, who's the head coach at Iowa now on the men's side. So my head coach here, Jonathan Sippis, had worked there and left that job in 2003, and then I went and replaced him at UNCG. And he wound up transitioning to the women's side too. He actually got a job at Notre Dame, and so because of us both being in that same family tree, when he got the job here in 2016 at Wisconsin, he called Fran and was looking for a male assistant to add to his staff. And we had just gotten let go at Cornell when I was there in 2016 under Bill Courtney, who's now an assistant coach at Miami, University of Miami. And he was like, "Yo, do you think you'd be interested in coaching at Wisconsin?" I said, "Of course, it's the Big Ten. I don't care that it's women. I've always had a great, respect for the women's game as basketball. And every stop I've ever been at, I've always kind of worked with the women's team in some way, shape, or form by developing, relationships. And, we both coach basketball and, piggybacking off each other and talking shop and stuff like that. So, to me, it was just another basketball coaching job. It wasn't a women's coaching job. And so it wound up working out. And, it's been great, living out here, working at this Big Ten school, getting to go to Big Ten football games.
Right.
And, a great athletic program here. Everybody, is pretty much successful. We're trying to get that program up and running as well. And I think we're on track right now. So it's been good.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, definitely the big your conference is outstanding as far as basketball, athletics, and obviously football too. But there's a transition period. Although it's still basketball, it's still a little difference as far as the women's game and the men's game, the athleticism, of course, and the fundamentals, of course. What has been the biggest difference as far as coaching both genders of basketball?
Just the constantly trying to build confidence and swagger, right? And then, so all guys think they're going to be the next LeBron James. This is how we do, right?
Yep.
How we were brought up in the game. We were taught to always feel that way, no matter what you're doing. Never say die, you know what I mean? Or whatever. I was talking to some of our boys about the other day. They were like, when I was trying to say that, MJ shouldn't have laughed at Gary Payton the way he did, and they were like, "Craig, if somebody said that they could shut you down, they could guard you, you would have did the same thing." I was like, "Yeah, you're kind of right."
Yep.
It's just, how you were taught how to be competitive in that way, whereas women are not taught to have that kind of confidence and bravado about themselves, right? And so you have to constantly build that in them and let them know you're just as good, if not better. Go out there and expect to be better than people. Go out there and expect to be great. You know what I mean? And we're going to work for it, and it's going to be a process, and you're not going to make every shot through it, but keep expecting to make every shot, right? And because you put in the work and trusting in that. And so that's been, one of the things that, that I've been trying to make sure that I do, is constantly building confidence, but build it, honestly, right? And not just, building somebody up for the sake of doing it, but building them up knowing that they earned it, and that they should sustain, that kind of effort in earning it, and they should expect to be good, right? Because they put the work in, because it all pays off in the end.
Yeah, real work equals real results.
Yeah, always. It might not happen when you want it to, but it's gonna happen. You just gotta kind of be patient, trust, and have faith.
Right. Now, which is another good segue, because I think that you guys are on the cusp, and because I think that your division is good, your conference is good, but I think that you guys are interjecting something different. I watched some of your games, and you guys are really bringing that swagger, your word, to Wisconsin basketball. Has the community as a whole, because I know that they have a long history on the men's side of doing extremely well with a different swagger, has the women community accepted you guys overall?
Yeah, I think so. We're one of the tops in our conference in terms of home attendance, which is good. Very good. One of the things that I think people discount, and no disrespect to any college programs in the city, but in New York, we really don't have one program that the whole state gets behind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, and ebbs and flows. When we were coming up, everybody wanted to be a St. John's fan because they were hot. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But it was only because they were good. It wasn't just because they were St. John's in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And right now here in Wisconsin, the pecking order, and I'll tell you this, and there's no disrespect to anybody. I love Giannis and the Greek Freak, but it goes Packers, then the Badgers, then the Bucks, and then the Brewers.
Mm-hmm.
And so, for instance, I tell people all the time, our volleyball team, our women's volleyball team just played for the national championship this past year. They sell out all their home games. So that's 8,000 people in the city of Madison at a volleyball game on Friday nights, packed and insane and loud and going crazy. They sell out every men's game. We sell out every home football game, right? And so the people here really support no matter what. But now, when we start getting it to the level where we're getting up into the middle of the Big Ten and to the top of the Big Ten, the roof is going to come off the Kohl Center. We seat like 17,000, 18,000 in there. And I know when we've had some special days for attendance and we get 6,000 or 7,000 people in there, it's incredibly loud. And that's before we've got to the point where we're playing in the postseason, you know what I'm saying, and we're consistently winning 17, 18, 19, 20 games a year.
Mm-hmm.
And once we get to that, we're going to average 7,000 to 8,000 people a game.
Wow.
Easy. And it's going to be insane. It's going to be tough to play in, and I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, that sounds amazing, because those numbers are crazy for the for women's basketball games. To be honest with you, UConn, Notre Dame, Baylor's, South Carolina's, Stanford's, Oregon. Now Oregon's hot. Those are ones that you expect that from, but you guys could pull that off. That'd be outstanding.
I'm telling you, it'll get there. That's the beauty of this place. That this state and this city and this community here, and even the neighboring towns of Sun Prairie, Verona, Pittsburgh and Monona, they all super support, and I can't wait for it, because it'll be insane, and it'll be a beautiful thing to watch, and it'll be a great experience for our student athletes for sure.
No, that's dope. That's a tribute to you guys, and I've been in Wisconsin. I actually hooped a couple of times out there, and it's crazy out there. It's crazy out there. This is in the height of hoop it ups and all that stuff. It was crazy. One of my friends, a couple of my friends went to Marquette, and they were they were like gods walking down the street. I felt like I was like a big fish in a little town. I was like big time over there. Basketball is big in that state.
I'll let you mention Marquette only because we family.
Yeah, my bad.
Do that on this call.
But they're not in your conference. They're not in your conference.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's next for you personally as far as the coaching? It's about time for you to get that HC next to your name. Who we got to talk to?
That's the plan. Well, you know how it is. We got to do a little bit better here, right? I gotta bring Wisconsin up in the Big Ten. I'm a big believer in that. As much as sometimes it doesn't play itself through, I believe in earning everything. Right? I'd be hypocritical if I tell my student athletes that they need to earn something, but then I wanted somebody to give me something.
Mm-hmm.
Do I think that I'm ready to lead a program? Yes. There's a bunch of stuff that I haven't learned yet, but I truly believe You learn how to be a head coach just like how you learn everything. You got to learn when you get the job. I'm preparing for the job now, but there's going to be things that I don't know is going to come up that I only know when I become a head coach. And so that's definitely my goal. That's been my goal since I got into the game, and I've come close. I actually had a job offered to me. I won't mention school, and wound up turning it down for something that I thought was a better job, even though it was an assistant job. And so, you know, sometimes that happens. And you gotta make that tough, hard decision. So I'm hoping that, you know, God blesses me again and brings something back around. And, you know, next time I probably won't be saying no to it. But,
need that.
But I'm definitely looking forward to it for sure.
All right. I appreciate it, man. That's pretty much everything I got for you, man. Any parting words that you want to give before I ask this big time question? I got one more question for you, but any parting words before we go?
No, man, I just appreciate, you know, being able to get on with you. You know, we fam, and, you know, I mean, we obviously don't talk shop, but, you know, we don't need to talk shop, you know, to stay in touch. And I appreciate you always helping me out and being a resource for me, whether I was on the men's or the women's side. So I appreciate that for sure.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate you being family also. But here's the question. You ready for this one?
Oh, man.
It's a 3-part question, and I asked an assistant coach the other day about it. So, and I stole a question from the Knucklehead, so I'm gonna give them credit. All right, who was that guy that really got at you in high school, got at you in college?
Ooh, high school?
Like, oh shit, he got me.
Damn. See, it wouldn't have been, and no disrespect, like I went to Burns High School of Science, and we played a tough schedule, and there were some dudes out there that could play, and we played against a bunch of A teams. Like I was a freshman the first time I played against Rod Strickland. That ain't even fair right there. That don't even make sense to mention that right there. You know what I mean? Like I ain't even gonna act like that's ridiculous. But he was still at Truman.
He was Truman, right? Yeah.
He was at Truman. But it would have been like in a summer tournament.
That's fine.
You know what I mean? It would have been either, you know, playing up in a Holcomb, whether it be at Millbank up there, 145th Street. You know what I mean? And it would have been, I mean, we played together at one point. I have to say, I got to go with Lloyd Daniels and Sweet Pea, to be honest. But, like, I didn't, you know what I mean? I didn't have to guard him per se, but, like, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, I played against a bunch of dudes, but in terms, you know, because that era of coming up in the 80s and early 90s or whatever, like, it was just different, you know what I mean? But there's a bunch of talented kids now, but, like, there were cats that could play and could go on every level. They just happened to go to certain schools at the time that, you know, you were not getting away from anything. Like, I'm forgetting old boy's name right now. I think Oliver something that played at Far Rock, that we were both seniors, and we wound up, you know, beating the city and scoring. He was number one, I was number two. The dude was averaging like 36 points a game.
Oliver Taylor.
Oliver Taylor. You know what I mean? And so, you know, we never played against each other like in high school, but, you know, back then before AAU and everybody got a chance to travel, you know, you met up in either Citywide, right? Or you met up, you know what I'm saying, in Boise Yesteryear in Harlem, you know what I'm saying? Or you met up in Soul in the Hole, you know what I'm saying? Or LG, or in Chico's League over in Lindsay Park and Brooklyn. So, I mean, that's where, for me, my battles happen with cats, you know what I mean? And you know, some of them, you know, Hoop Connection, I can't forget Hoop Connection in Rothschild Park, you know, in Fort Greene, where I'm from. So, I mean, I have to say, you know, some of the, like, I played against a bunch of impressive cats or whatever. So, but I'm going to go with Sweepy because we can never beat them in the championship at LG when they would show up there with Keith Stroud and all the cats. But,
yeah, but LG is different, though. That's not basketball sometimes in that back then. that was Darwinism. That's survival of the fittest in there at that era.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, like, it prepares you for everything, though. Like, you know what I mean? Like I can't, like, this is what I tell kids all the time now. You had to, it's like before when you're in the rap game, right? You had to have 2 or 3 good summers before you got a nickname. You know what I mean? Like, you can make 1 or 2 good moves. I know I sound like an old dude, get off my lawn, but you know what I mean? But it's different way because you had to, like, if you played on Thursday, you couldn't not come back out on Friday if you got dealt with. Like,
Right.
you had to come back and redeem yourself. Then you had to do it again on Saturday versus the old dudes. And if you got a chance to play with the older dudes and you was 15, 16 years old, you made it.
Right.
And that's how you grew up and knew you were getting there. And then, you know, with the advent of Facebook, I started realizing I was playing against cats that was 10 years older than me.
Yeah,
These dudes is working, you know what I mean? I had kids, and I'm 16 years, 27. I'm playing against them in the park every Saturday. You know what I mean? It was the best thing for me. And, you know, I was telling, you know, somebody the other day, you know, I played with Dykeman at AAU, if you could say that, if it was AAU back then. And every Friday night, we used to work out at Brandeis High School. And just imagine being 15 years old, working out against Mark Jackson, Ed Pinckney, Walter Berry, Kenny Smith, right? You know, Ken the Animal Bannister. It would be like Pat Sullivan, who was a pro, was nice. Like the cats that used to come down there and play against us and work out for 2 hours, you know what I'm saying, from 8 at night to 10 at night on a Friday night in hot Brandeis and no air conditioning was insane. And so, you know, that to me was the best. That's the best thing that ever prepared me to play basketball on any level in any state against anybody that could ever happen. And you know, there was one guy I have to admit in college because he dropped 50 on us. I'll be hard pressed not to mention his name. And he played with Silk Owens at Rhode Island, and you know, so I mean, when you get 50, you get mentioned again in 2020, even though it happened in '88. You know what I mean? His name was Tommy Garrett. He's actually a head coach at UMass Lowell on the women's side. And I was like, man, that was a hell of a freshman year to get, you know what I'm saying, indoctrinated to watch this dude. And, you know, like, even, I have to say this, you know what? I almost forgot. When I was a freshman in high school, or sophomore year in high school, there was a guy by the name of John Morton that played at Walton High School.
John Morton went to Seton Hall, too.
He went to Seton Hall. And I remember when they played for the national championship, I think he was a junior and I was a freshman. It was the first game I started at Rutgers. I wanted to have 9 points and 7 assists. You know, there's certain things you don't forget. But John got at us that day. That guy got mad at me because I knew John, and you know, he's a good friend or whatever. And I was like, yeah, John just had a great game today. And I remember him from high school when he used to have great games against Bronx. I was up there all the time. And I got mad, like, yo, what you mean? I said, yo, it don't mean I don't think I could be better than dude, but they just beat me. Like, ain't nothing wrong with it. Dude asked me a question. You know what I'm saying? That's my man. He would say the same thing about me, but they got at us. And you see the dude played in the league, and they almost beat Michigan in the national championship game when nobody thought they were that good. So, again, you know, if I have to, you know, point to somebody in high school that played in, you know, my league that I had to go up playing against, even though he's older than me, it would have been John Morton for sure in high school. And then college, I got to give it to Tommy Garrett because he had 50. You know, he beat Rhode Island with him and Silk in the backcourt. And they messed around and made a Sweet 16 that year. So they weren't, you know, they weren't slouches. You know what I mean?
That's crazy. And I know Coach Garrett too.
Yeah. Good dude, man. He looked at me kind of funny sometimes, so I would trip him next time I see him at the AAU.
You. But anyway, thanks, Coach Carter. How many times do you hear that? Like, Coach Carter, like, when the movie came out, were you, like, annoyed?
When the movie came out, man, it was crazy all the time, you know, the dude. But the good thing is I still got my hair, and that dude was bald, so they can't ever mistake me, so I'm good.
And he must have been, like, 50 when he filmed that Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, exactly. Like, next time somebody asks me, I'm like, yeah, that was me. I just, you know, I stay in shape. I drink a lot of green tea. I'm just, you know, I just don't look the same age. It's crazy.
And you got the LeBron hairstyle, the pat, whatever he got on his head.
Nah, mine is all juices and berries, man.
All right, man. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
All right, no problem, man. I appreciate you.
Same here.